Today we're picking up one of the contentious issues in the industry, and this is something that affects you as a consumer. I'm Jayashree Kurup, I'm editor of Magicbricks. I've got Prabhakar Sinha with me. He's the real estate editor of Times of India. And we've got Babbar. He's a development management consultant who's helping the industry find solutions. I'm sure you'll have a lot to learn from what he has to say. What do you do when your developer has sold you a project and the project is not complete? This is something that an issue that we have been addressing over the last 3 to 4 years. And Prabhakar and I have talked about various issues pertaining to this problem. Today we're seeing that there are solutions available. There are some solutions that developers are offering. There are some solutions that the consumer courts are offering, and there are some solutions that industry together is trying to evolve. The idea is not to put your developer in jail. You will not gain anything from that. What you need is you need your developer to work with you and to work with a lot of other entities to make sure that you get the house that you were promised. And that is the whole purpose of why we are doing this discussion. Prabhakar, I'll come to you first. Very quickly, since you've been covering this issue so often, what are the big 5 issues that the consumers are battling with today?
The biggest issue is that of the delay, and the developers have not been able to deliver the project or complete the project on time. And developers are saying that the buyers are not paying, so they are not able to finish the project now.
So there's a cash flow situation.
There's a cash flow position, and the buyers are saying that because developers are not constructing, so they are not paying the money. Now there was some solution. I know I have covered 4 builders in this. I can name them also, like the Unit 8 was trying to do it. Then after one Aaron builder was trying to do it, 3C was trying to do it. Some more builders were trying to do it. And Sinha was also talking to one of the projects was taken over by one of the employer itself to complete the project. Now there the model was that they will form a escrow account, but not the escrow account per se, but the dedicated account for the completion of the project. And they asked the buyers that you come forward, join us, put the money, what is due towards you, and then you join the management board, you become also the signatory, and through your signature only money will be withdrawn, and money will be used to only complete the project. I know in the 3C, one gentleman, Sunil Khan, he is doing it with the Babbar, and he is trying to complete some of the towers of some of the projects.
Today, everybody is thinking of projects as tower by tower, right?
But the problem is this, that in one case, I'll tell you, one case what has happened, that they created this kind of account, then one bank went to the court, and then they took the order and impounded that money. Because that builder was owing some money to that bank.
Yeah.
So, in all this, basically what is required, that builder must come forth, and builder should also say that, okay, I am with you and will try to help completing the project, number 1. Number 2, the receivables should be sufficient enough to complete the project.
Right.
Number 3, buyers should come forward to complete the project, to help completing the project. Here is a big problem. Now, because the prices of the flat has depreciated, so the prices at which the buyer has bought it, they are saying that if I complete my payment, then this flat is becoming very costly for me. So rather than that, he says that builder should return my money with interest, and I want to exit. Okay, so they are not forthcoming and they are not paying paying money.
Right.
This is happening in the large number of projects.
And the market is effectively in a logjam. There is the 3 stakeholders, the developer, the buyer, and the banker are all...
Bankers are not coming, they are not paying, they are giving money at all.
So here let's bring in Mr. Babbar. Mr. Babbar, you have been talking to the bankers, you have been talking to the authorities, and you've been talking to the builders.
Yes.
Help us understand, is there a way out of this logjam?
So I think 2-3 things, just taking off from what Prabhakar was mentioning. I think there is a bit of a fatigue that has set into the builders, right? And why I say a fatigue is because they have taken on too much inventory on themselves to try to build, right? I think there were 2-3 issues that everybody is involved and everybody is responsible for this, in the sense that each market, and this is something that the authority has to understand, the developer has to understand, each market has a certain absorption capacity.
Right.
Now, if you go around giving licenses or land allotments to a builder 10 times over, he is stretching himself, and he has gone and sold inventory at, so the other thing that Prabhakar was mentioning is that he possibly sold at higher price. I'm saying he sold it at a low price, right? Today there is an appreciation, there is a capacity for customers to pay, but they are reticent to pay any money because the project is stuck, right?
Prices are not there also. Right now,
So I'll tell you, if you analyze the buyers, most of them have, I would say 75 to 80% are people, especially in this belt of Noida, Greater Noida, I would say, have taken home loans, which means they are actual buyers.
Right.
End users. They are end users. So it is, they have bought houses at 24 lakhs, 30 lakhs rupees. Now, yes, you're right that the EMIs today are coming to pinch them, right? And that is where the problem lies. So, out of this logjam, I think all the stakeholders, that is the authority, which has given the land, and they have taken, small amounts. Today you read in the papers and that 4,000 crores, 5,000 crores, 10,000 crores is owed to the various authorities. But by taking 10%, 15% of the amount, why has the allotment been made and no money is forthcoming from the builders? Whereas if you see in the other markets, let's say for a market like Gurgaon, today, unless I have the capacity to pay for the land, I cannot get a license to build.
Right.
Here, the authority is taking 10%, 15%, 20%, and they've kept quiet after that.
Right. Originally, it was supposed to be amortized over 7 to 8 years. Right?
So I am saying this facility of amortization was originally under the Noida or the Greater Noida Act, right, meant for setting up and housing industries. This act has been extended for residential development, which is, I think, where the issues and the problems are coming up.
Very quickly, to explain the concept of amortization to the consumers who may not be aware, the Development Authority had given land to a very large number of developers without considering their previous track records, by allowing them to pay for 10% of the cost of the land, and the rest of it was to be paid over 5 to 7 years, I think.
That's right.
And when in most cases what happened was, after the initial payments, the rest of the payments have not been made. Neither did the authority call it in, nor did the developers make the payment. And today, when the whole issue has blown out of proportion, the Development Authority suddenly realized that the land has not been paid for. So who owns the land? The authority, clearly, because the developer has paid only 10% of the land, for the land. Unless the developer continues to pay, the land is not with him. The banker has lent to the developer, who has only paid 10% of the cost of the land, and therefore the consumer, who has paid maybe 70-80% in many cases, is today stuck without knowing who has to call in the money, the banker, the authority, or the consumer, or should everybody be working towards completion and handing over the promised houses so that the market can move forward.
Also, I think, when you talk about the builder-buyer agreements and calling in 70-80%, even though I've worked with premium developers, I mean, I'm now on the other side of the table maybe, but I think the builder-buyer agreements are skewed in terms of their payment plans.
Yes.
And why I say that is that 75 to 80% of the money is called in till the structure is complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. And only 20% or 15% is left for finishing.
Yeah.
If you see the normal payment plan.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying from a developer's perspective, 50 to 60% only goes in for the structure of the construction cost.
Yes.
So construction cost or the sale price, right? The sale price comprises of a profit of the developer. It comprises of a land component, which is the FAR cost, and it comprises of the construction cost. Now, that component of construction cost, 50 to 55% only is linked to the structure.
Yeah.
Whereas
what they've called in is about 60 to 70%.
75, 70 in a case in Gurgaon, they've called in 90%. That case is in the court. Yeah.
So when the developer has called in 75 to 90%, if the intent was to deliver and if that money was being spent in the project, that was not such a bad thing at that point of time. But today what has happened is between the 60% that you spend on raising the structure and the 90% that 75 to 90% that you've called in, that missing money is today come to haunt the market.
Now, look, Jayashree, what I feel that what is the solution?
Yeah.
Now, all knows that where we went wrong.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
Now, the issue is that how to go forward from
How can you get money to start constructing, right?
Now,
That is the issue.
Yeah, two things here. I'll suggest. What I have found after talking to a lot many these builders, what they are saying, like that if they need some seed money, say 30 crore, 20 crore, 50 crore, to complete one tower at least.
Right.
Now, what has happened? That in one tower, say there is 100 flats. Out of that, at least 70 is sold, 30 is not sold.
Right.
Okay, now the 70 guys are also not paying. Now, only thing is this, that if this tower is completed, then he can ask the 70 fellows that you pay up now.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, I am going to cancel your
Right.
allotment and I will sell it in the market.
Right.
And I will forfeit your money. So then these 70 fellow will come forward and pay him.
Right.
So then it will generate some cash flow. Then with that money, he can start working on the second tower, third tower. In fact, one builder, I should not name him, he was supposed to get 280 crores of the bank, and he was telling me that with that money, he can complete 34 out of his 66 projects.
Right.
And then he says that with that money, he can generate around another 300 crores. With that, he says that with that cash flow, he can rotate the projects. But the problem is that with that whether he is going to get that 280 crore or not first.
You see, the consumer there's a big mistrust in the consumer who's not opening his purse strings to complete the project. This is where, Mr. Babbar, I'd like to understand the concept of development management.
So I think you all have hit the nail on the head by, I think it means a return of customer confidence in the project.
Yeah.
Right? Let's assume the builder does not have the capacity, or there, like I mentioned earlier in the conversation, that a fatigue is set in. It is best, and from a consumer's perspective, more importantly from the consumer's perspective, from the financial industry's perspective, and from the authority who is owed a lot of money, that a third party comes in as a development manager, takes over this project, keeps the current developer involved but at bay in terms of actual construction and development. He brings in seed money, the development manager brings in seed money, and this is a model that I've already worked on, and we've already tied up with one of the builders.
So are you going to bring in the seed money to start construction?
Yes, so I'm saying we'll bring in this, so we worked it out for 2 projects.
Yeah.
We worked out what is the seed money requirement, exactly what you're saying. We worked out the seed money requirement for X number of towers, and I am saying we will not call for any installments until at least, let's say, if a tower is 75% complete, I'm saying we'll complete the entire tower and then call for the entire money.
Okay.
Where structure is coming up, we will call only after 4 slabs have been cast.
Yeah.
Which means that a customer sees that a third party has stepped in.
And the cranes have started moving.
The concrete is being poured on the ground.
Right.
That I think is very, very important. The pouring of concrete, that process of pouring concrete has to start.
Right.
Then what will happen is that the existing lenders, the existing buyers and the authority will start getting returns. More importantly, I put the customer in the prime focus.
Right.
Right? Which means I'm saying, and I've said that to the authorities also, that the customer today is the hero of the story. We are forgetting the hero of the story in this entire gamut of insolvency. I mean, I've been reading papers, insolvency professionals completely have ignored the buyers.
Yeah, but in this completely have ignored the scheme of things. There is one problem. That is a huge problem today. Now, many of the buyers, now particularly the investors, now I'm not talking about the individuals, investors, and they are quite substantial in number, at least 20 to 25%.
Agreed.
They go to the court and they say that, boss, now this project has not been delivered so far, it has been delayed. So please ask the developer to return my money with interest. NCDRC give the judgment, quoting or citing the National Justice that was developers had taken money, so it must return with interest. Now developers are supposed to return money with 12% interest. In some cases, the order is up to 15% of the interest. Now developer doesn't have money to even construct. What about giving money back?
Exactly.
Now the problem is...
Okay, so Mr. Babbar, since you are in a live situation, we'd like to understand, there may be investors in your project as well.
Yes.
So what happens to the investors and how do you tackle that problem?
So very clearly, I am telling all the buyers, whether investors or actual users, that look, gentlemen or look, ladies, we cannot deliver this project if you don't pay.
Right.
If you think there is money on the table to be paid at this stage with interest, your money is returned to you, that is stalling the project further. That's it's a cul-de-sac as far as I'm concerned.
Is it a conversation or is there some binding, a statutory binding that
So statutory binding will come in. Statutory binding will come in, and in this project that we are taking up, I am going to have 100% of the buyers come and sign the revised builder-buyer agreements by extending the time frame.
Right.
But if they don't come,
If they don't come, then the project doesn't start. And therefore, I'm saying it is going to be but I'm saying it's going to be a peer pressure from the 75% on the 25% that please abide by this so that it helps all of us.
Right. And the appeal here to investors is you have a far better chance of a better return on your investment if you allow the development to go on.
That's right.
why do they get convinced? Now,
Yes.
today the investors...
So I am saying the conviction
like
Yes.
yeah, but the conviction will come in once they see progress on the ground.
Right. Right. Actually, it's a chicken and egg situation.
And I'm saying,
Problem is-
for the protection of the buyers themselves, that they should all come and sign in case necessary, sign the revised terms of especially in terms of waiver of interest for that period of time and extension by whatever period of time to complete that particular tower. That particular builder-buyer amendment should be registered with let's say in the NCR with let's say the Greater Noida or the Noida authorities, so that there is a sanctity to that.
I don't think that anybody will come and buy it. It's almost impossible sort of stuff.
So if they don't, and I've had conversations with some of them, they are saying
be ready to do it.
some of them. So in the case of the Gurgaon project, they were all ready to do it.
Okay.
They were all ready to do it. I'll take you to Bombay. I'll tell you
why, sir. No. Why? The basic thing is,
The consumer continues to pay EMI.
No.
And the consumer saying, if I'm paying EMI,
That's
should
it.
I forfeit the interest that was due to me?
Suppose the buyer has paid 4,000 rupees per square feet or 4,500 rupees per square feet. Today the project is still putting at same price.
Right.
Now, he had bought it, say, 7 years back.
Right.
Now, NCDRC suggesting that you can take your money back with interest. That
Right.
instead of 4,500, you can get 9,000 rupees per square feet. Now, if I pay, still I'll get a flat of 4,500 rupees square feet.
Right.
So why should I pay? I said, boss, give my money back.
Right.
And the court is suggesting me.
And that is because the NCDRC is today allowing consumers to take the money back, awarding.
People are doing that.
Yes.
But now in that case, if that does not have the property, quoting say at 10,000 rupees square feet or 12,000 rupees square feet, nobody would have gone to NCDRC to take his money back. He would have stayed back and thought that, okay, I'm telling you, in one of the projects in Gurgaon, a gentleman had bought it in 2008. Project is not complete even today, but he had bought it at 3,500. Today that project is quoting 12,000 square feet. That buyer is still sticking with that, and he says that, no, I want my flat back, and he says that, okay, fine, give me the law, I will put my own money of 5 lakh of rupees and I will get it completed. And he's ready to do that.
Yeah, but so I'm saying that in case
witty solutions may not work.
if you go by the NCRDC route, that's not going to help complete the project.
That will not help complete the project, and actually neither will you get your money back, because the developer is not sitting on cash today.
He's not. If he was sitting on cash or he had the financial capability, he would have completed the project.
Absolutely.
I am saying the intent of the developer is not to run away with the money. It is just
Not now. Actually, the market has cleaned up significantly. Today, the developer's intent, because of the RERA and GST era that we're talking about, the developer's intent is to complete, allow projects to complete. I would take some of the queries that are coming on live.
Yes, please. Yes.
We've got Sadiq Sarkar from Bangalore who says, when we contact the builder, many of them tell us all units are sold. But in web shows like Magicbricks show, it mentions that there is availability. Agents are also making ads. What is the reason? Clearly, whether it was sold or not, the developers had declared that they were fully sold out. A large number of in many cases, what had happened was it was given, it was pre-booked by certain people by paying 10%, 15% to be resold in the market. When the markets came down significantly over 2 years, the guys who have invested with paying the first 2 installments, they are now willing to exit the project, and it becomes inventory which is available in the market. So it was a play of, it was an investment option at that point of time. And Sadiq, if you go to developers or to brokers, you will find that those projects which had declared that they were 100% sold out are able to give you units, and you can buy the units. It was a
plus if I may add, I think there's going to, like Jayashree mentioned, there is already the cleanup has already started. So I think this thing of trying to offload inventory to investors initially, and then which can be then resold to the actual consumers or actual users, those days are gone.
Right.
And which is why the developer today, unless he studies what is the inventory overhang in that particular market, unless he studies what are the prevalent rates in that market, he would not announce a scheme. So I think the more responsible developer, and especially when you're talking about Bangalore, I think there are a lot more responsible developers in the Bangalore market. The Bangalore market is by and large an actual users market. There may be a smattering of developers who have try to make it do that, all our inventory is sold, but they still have inventory. Most of the developers who have a standing in the Bangalore market are very cautious about who they sell to and the delivery time frames.
Sure.
In such markets, such situation, one should keep a close watch.
Yeah.
That could be a signal that market is going to go up.
Okay.
So he should, because in that case, what happens that people want to keep inventory, they don't want to sell it.
Right.
Because there is a signal that prices might move up.
Right.
So in that situation, if he still finds that prices are inching up, then he should buy it from the secondary market.
Okay. Go to the secondary market. There will be earlier investors who will be offloading pick up. But remember that you have to look at the locality price. You have to see what price you're getting and go for the correct pricing, and don't get taken in by whatever.
Just to add to that, I think going forward, whether an actual user or an investor, I think safety is going to be very, very important.
Absolutely.
Right. So unless I can, and I make my own investments on that basis, unless I can look and feel and see the building coming up or 75%, 80% complete, only then that's the right time to come and make an investment.
And this is to all consumers. We have always maintained at Magicbricks and Prabhakar has been saying the same thing. Please buy into projects where the cranes keep moving. If you see, look at the past track record of the developer. Today, with or without that track record, every developer is going to try and finish projects because RERA has already kicked in. Today, your money is a lot safer than it was in the last 5-6 years. So you should look at completion and allowing the market to inch up. We've got a lot more queries coming in. We've got Babita Sharma who says, will government authorities also be held responsible for issuing approvals late, as many projects get delayed because of that? Yes, Babita, this is an issue and this has been raised at various forums. How can you get the approvals process streamlined? Today we're not discussing that. We will definitely pick this up as an issue and do it in a subsequent show. But let's go on with the issue that we're dealing with right now. There's Meenu Bhatt from Greater Noida who says, what is the definition of completion? Is only the floor, or it means completion of stairs, balcony and other things which a resident needs to live in a house? She brings in a very critical element of livability. There are many developers who've asked for the final tranche of installment, saying that the house is ready for possession. When the consumer goes to check the house for possession, tiles are not fixed, plumbing is still underway, and there is no way of ensuring that when you pay this is going to be used towards completion of your flat. Mr. Babbar, what have we done?
I think when I talk about moving into a flat, it's not about the tiles or the bathroom fittings that are complete or no. From an actual user's or a buyer's perspective, I would like to see whether all facilities, can I go and live there? What is the livability index of that particular project? Are the lifts functioning? Is my water tank okay? Do I have adequate security? Is there power for my flat? All these things are important, because is there a playground which was promised for my children? These are the things that I have to look at when I want to move in. So it's not about just putting in the tiles and putting in the sanitary fittings and putting in the locks and doors, but I think it's the livability of that complex which needs to be
in Noida, particularly Noida and Greater Noida. Now, when they are going for the CC, completion certificate, authority advertise and ask the stakeholders, means the buyers and everybody, that if they have any objection and if they find that the project is incomplete in any manner, they just should complain. And unless that is resolved, they can't get the CC.
Right.
So now if suppose that facade has fallen, a facade is broken, and if you find that it is not good, and you complain it, they'll have to complete it first. Then only they will get the CC. And then after only they can register the project in your name. I mean the flat in your name.
So one of the things that we have been advocating, and I think I'd like to reiterate, please form pressure groups of buyers. Join up with other buyers. As an individual, you will not be able to take on a system. Join the groups and fight as a group to get everything done. And remember that do not disrupt the process. Allow construction to go on, because you are going to be the winner. If that house is incomplete, no matter what you do, you can go to an NCDRC and get a refund order. But the developer today does not have that money. Till the whole process of construction picks up again, you may not be able to get your money back, because there is no cash in the system. So today, your best option is to allow the construction to go on, find solutions. People like Mr. Babbar who come in as development managers, the whole idea is that it should kickstart the process of construction. What you need is seed money to start constructing tower by tower, as Prabhakar said.
And if I may just add, I think make sure that the RWA is formed, that certain deposits are available which you may have paid to the developer. Those deposits are available to the RWA for the maintenance thereafter, after the residents have moved in. I think that's important.
Right. We've got Ravinder Singh from Noida who says, I bought in a Greater Noida project by paying a booking amount, but now I cannot avail of the home loan. What should I do in this case? Any suggestions?
Why can't?
Because I think the project is stalled. It's a stalled project. He put in the booking amount and now the project is stalled, and the and the developer has not paid the money to the authority, and when the developer's payment is pending, the banks have stopped lending to projects like that. We've got some queries.
He should approach the developer that
the only recourse is to go back to the developer.
Yeah.
Because the project has not got approved for a housing loan, so
then developer will get it done. Otherwise, he should complain to the RERA, because right now it is at the RERA. So you should complain to the RERA that this is up.
Yours is a typical case where RERA is your recourse.
Yeah.
You have to go to RERA,
but he may not be able to get any recourse from RERA, because if the project is stalled in this, the developer may not have registered their project under RERA in the first
Should not
place.
have bought it.
in
I
fact,
agree. No, but this must have been done earlier. I agree because
in fact, I've got another query from a consumer who says my developer has not registered his project under RERA. While we know that not registering an ongoing project is an offence for which the developer has to pay 1% of the project cost, and also there is a jail term associated with it. There are many cases where the developer sees no way of being ever able to complete that project.
Buyer should file a complaint in the RERA that this is the project which has already been launched, not completed, and it has not been registered. So please ask the developer to register it. And if the developer is not registering it, even after receiving the notice, authority, RERA can file an FIR against that developer in the
So Mahendra Singh, your recourse is RERA. Go to the UP RERA authority, put your complaint there saying that your developer has not registered with RERA and that the authority should compel the developer to register the project. Once the project is registered under RERA and there are timelines and all that is logged with the RERA, the banks will start lending to you and you will be able to go on.
And I think for future, please see and check the antecedents of the developer before making such an investment. It is possible that the developer did not have the wherewithal to start with, and you were lured by somebody to go and make that investment. So I'm saying, just be cautious. Today, the buzzword should be caution and safety.
Right. We've got a very strange request here. There is Shailesh Kumar from Noida who says that his builder actually completed the project before time. He had made provisions for payment, keeping a certain timeline, but the developer, because RERA was coming, has finished before. He says, what should we do in case the builder is ready to hand over the project before the deadline and we do not have the money to pay at that time? Can we request the builder to accept the payment at the possession date promised? Because there is a contract. And according to the contract, project.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you should be very happy that the builder has completed the project. So as an interim measure, what you could do is possibly, if you don't have the financial capability right now, maybe avail of a housing loan, because the project is ready.
Right.
It is capable of getting a house. You are capable of getting a housing loan. So I'm saying, so as not to disrupt the process, please take a housing loan for a short period of time, and so that helps the developer complete the balance towers, etc., and you get possession at the earliest. So you can, and the moment you get possession, there is a notional saving of interest that is accruing to you.
Right. So you should actually be looking at.
But he can ask the developer to wait for the payment.
He can,
Yeah, he can.
because there is an agreement to that effect.
And but then the developer will also deliver position. He will not do the position in the payment position.
Unless you give your final payment, you won't get possession, and you will. But you can always ask the developer to wait. Sachin Kalbag from Greater Noida had invested in Amrapali, and its construction got delayed for at least 4 to 5 years. How do I claim delay compensation and get my money back? And here, Sachin, we have picked up your case. Try to allow the project to complete. You will get better returns out of that project by doing that. If over a period of time, even if the National Consumer Redressal Forum gives you a order saying that the developer has to pay you back. Remember, the developer does not have money even to complete the project. Today, the entire market is trying to see that projects are completed on time and not that investors get the enhanced amount and exit the project, because the market will never rise.
And I think all the industry bodies are coming together to help this cause, to make sure that if one of their fellow members is stuck, how can they help him out? I think that is what everybody is trying to, the objective of the Noida Authority, Greater Noida Authority. You may be aware that Noida and Greater Noida Authority have started carrying out an audit for builders who have delayed projects. The idea of that exercise being to help the consumers get the delivery of their flats as fast as possible.
Right. Mr. Babbar, there is Prasoon Kumar who invested with in a project where there were, I think, 6 towers. The developer has registered with RERA. He has said that the first 3 towers he will deliver by 2018 and the other 3 towers will be delivered by 2021. Now, he should have got his project in 2016,
right,
which means that he's already delayed with the project and now his timeline has been extended to 2021. What should somebody like Prasoon do? Should he fight it? Should he just wait till 2021? What happens? Because we're clearly telling consumers, don't go for that, don't go to fight, let the project go on.
My suggestion on all this is that if as a investor or a customer you're seeking an exit, if 3 towers out of 6 towers have started, that means there will be some interest in that project from actual users. Maybe if there is the secondary market for that particular project builds up and they see work happening on the ground, that may be an exit route for you if you don't want to wait till the end of the project.
Right. Kamlesh Nair of Bangalore says, if a builder goes bankrupt, then will it be dealt with under RERA or the bankruptcy law? How will consumers' interest be taken care of in this case?
This is a little complicated because I mean, we've seen it in the JP case and I've been following that quite actively. Not including the buyers, I think is a gross error in terms of the insolvency code, frankly, especially where real estate projects are concerned, because terminology, whether you make them as sundry creditors or sundry debtors, I don't know, but the fact of the matter is that they are their money is invested. They could have been called as stakeholders if they had been delivered the project. Today they have lent money or they have advanced money for carrying out the construction of that project. I think the insolvency code is already being tweaked, or the government is already looking at it to make sure that the buyer's interests are protected.
And the Supreme Court has very clearly said that it will look
after the situation presently. One should go to the RERA, because right now, under the NCLT, what has happened that the buyers are not the secured lender. They are unsecured lender. And the bankers are the secured lender. So if the project is has gone to the bankruptcy and is going to be, sold off, in that case, the buyers will have the last right. Before that, many other lenders will come first. So when the water falls, so other player will take away the entire cream and he will be left with nothing.
So RERA is protecting the consumer.
My contention on all this is that I think in this insolvency code, and I come back to what I stated right in the beginning, who's the hero of the entire story? The hero is the buyer, right? The bankers have lent. And I'm not unhappy saying this, that they haven't carried out due diligence while they were lending money, right? So that they should have been cautious. So why are their interests being protected first? It is the buyers on the strength of which the bankers have given. If there were no buyers, the banker why would he have lent money? It is because the builder
and others who are already there. Buyers are not the lender, basically.
I agree, not the lenders.
Buyers are the owner.
Right.
So this is not have been treated like that. I have written
And they are secure. They are secure. They were promised a certain unit.
Not only that.
Yeah.
Buyers have already mortgaged that property to the bank.
Yes.
Now, if this is so, then what about the home loan giver?
Yeah.
Are they unsecured lender or they are secured lender?
Yeah.
What will happen to them?
Right.
So this right now, the NCLT law, particularly in the case of RERA, is faulty.
Yeah.
So now I believe that it is going to be amended very soon, particularly for the real estate.
Right.
So at present, the buyers have no recourse
Yeah.
in the NCLT. So it is better to go to the RERA so that he should ask for the delivery of the flat rather than for the money.
But he should continue to file the claims, right? When the NCLT asks for the claims,
Yes.
please make sure that you file your claims.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the entire process is being redrafted, the entire law and system is being redrafted. Put in your claims. Don't keep saying that NCLT cannot help me. Whether it can help you today or not, your claim must be registered with the NCLT and go to RERA, because RERA is clearly for the
So
consumer.
the banks are also fighting, basically. The home loan lenders, they are saying it that where do we stand in
Right.
this entire thing?
Right.
Are we the secured lender or the unsecured lender?
Right.
So basically, and they are saying that who has given directly money, some 100 to 150 crores,
Yeah.
they are the secured lender. And those who have given say 1,000 crores through the buyers, they are unsecured lenders.
Yeah.
So this is the complete lopsided law.
Yeah. Okay, Varun from Delhi says he got his property after a delay of 6 years and the builder did not give him any compensation. Rather, he mentions in the possession letter that the flat area has been increased. How can he check this and what can he do? Prabhakar, this is something that many developers have said, I promised you a flat of say 1450, I'm giving you 1495, therefore it gets
6% deviation is allowed. Okay, so for that much money, he will have to pay extra. And the buyers, the developers rightfully, I believe, can ask.
So how does he check? How does he check? Because it was
So
a
it's
super area that was sold to
I'll
him.
tell you, it's very simple. It's very simple actually. And we've got to understand that most of these projects, if he bought it, there's a delay of 6 years, which means he booked 6 years ago. These properties were sold what is known as on an off-plan basis.
Right.
Right? When I actually go and start casting, yeah, the plinth that is cast could get exceeded by anywhere between 5 to 8%, even up to the extent of 10%. That is the plinth that is cast actually.
Right.
Right? The builder will charge on the plinth that is cast. So, if you really want to get into why has my flat area increased, and if it is within the 5 to 6, as Prabhakar said, 5 to 6% range, I think you should be satisfied that there's nothing above or under the.
Could they check? How do they?
They can check. They can check. You can check. You can check. You can do. So the crux of the whole thing is the thumb rule is measure your carpet area, which is you can do.
Yeah. And in RERA you declare carpet area.
I'll tell you. You add for the wall thickness. You add between 12 to 15%. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the wall thickness of that flat, and you add another 18 to 20% for the common areas.
Right.
This is, so if you follow this back of the envelope calculation, you should be able to arrive at what is your area that you paid for.
So let's reiterate. Whatever your carpet area is, 12% for the wall thickness, and another 18 to 20% for the for the common facilities.
Common facilities, I mean, there are common areas, etc., which you have to pay for, right?
Okay. Pradeep Kumar Hapur, we are in our last two queries now. Pradeep Kumar from Hapur says he bought a property in Hapur area in 2015. The builder has even started construction. He's not even started construction. He's refusing to pay me back the booking amount. Should I go to the police or RERA authority? RERA.
Both, I would say.
Okay.
Both. Because that means the intent of the developer was not to develop.
Right.
So I would say both.
Yeah, but
Go to RERA if the project is not registered, the developer is
It's unlikely that is registered.
Exactly. So if he hasn't started, that means he hasn't registered. But he sold you, so he has to register under the RERA rules and also file a criminal complaint because he has taken your money and is refusing to give it back despite delay. We'll go on to our last question for the day. There is Sunita Mishra from Chandigarh who bought a flat in Noida. The construction is going on for the last 5 years. It seems it will take another 4 to 5 years. What should I do? Take action against the builder or withdraw? Go to RERA. RERA is UP RERA is all projects that are under construction has to be registered under RERA. If the project is not registered, get it registered under RERA. The developer has to declare everything, and remember that if a project is stuck, getting out of that project is also not easy because there are no buyers for projects which are stuck. There are buyers for projects which are complete. Our study shows that almost 99% of demand today is for completed projects or another 3 to 4 months from completion, which means that if your project is stuck, it is up to you to go to RERA and fight for your rights. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Mr. Babbar, for joining us, and Prabhakar, always a pleasure having you here. Thank you, consumers. Keep watching This Week in Property. Next Thursday, same time, 11:30 in the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.